And now it is my honor and my privilege to actually introduce the executive director of the LA Stage Alliance, Mr. Stephen Leigh Morris.
Thank you so much. In another century, when I was studying theater at UCLA, Edward Albee came to visit the campus, and this was before he won his third Pulitzer Prize. His writing then was more out there. It was absurdist and abstract. And I recall one professor at the time derided him somewhat and said, he also derided the playwright Eugene Ionesco, who had also been on the campus that same year, and the entire theater of the absurd, because the whole genre was this antiquated artifact. And I thought at the time, wow, that's a bit glib. So here we are in 2017, and the theater of the absurd is no longer some precious academic genre. We wake up to it every morning. Now, in Fellini's last film, Federico Fellini, it wasn't widely distributed out here. It was called The Voice of the Moon. And in this movie, three demented brothers use oversized farm equipment, and they rope the moon down, and it crashes into a stable. And this becomes the basis of a big conference where politicians start spouting propaganda, and it goes increasingly, there becomes a shouting match, and it grows increasingly violent. If this film were made today, all of that could have been done on Twitter, really. But the main character has just been released from the mental ward, it's Fellini. He's staring down a wishing well to fathom the mysteries of the deep. And there's all this shouting going on around him, and all he can say, it's the last line in the movie, it's the last line ever said by anybody in a Fellini movie. And he says, if we'd all just be quiet for a moment, we might understand something. I do now wonder if the highest purpose of our theater is not to advocate for noise and spectacle the way it's always done, because that really can't compete with the tenor of our times. Perhaps our theater, where artists and audiences gather together under the same roof and they breathe the same air and they engage with each other, not on screens and in pixels, but in live space. Perhaps our theater is the last sanctuary for the values that are now under siege, the quieter values like curiosity rather than arrogance and hubris, for modesty, and for perhaps the most important value, empathy for those who don't look like us. And empathy for people who don't think like this, because if we lose empathy, we're done. We might as well be barbarians. So congratulations to all the nominees tonight. Thank you for the empathy you put out on these stages. And if you do nothing else in 2017, please continue to make theater. And we at LA Stage Alliance, we'll have your back. We're a service organization dedicated to serving all the performing arts of Greater Los Angeles. The Ovation Awards, as you well know, is in its 27th year, and it's just one of our many programs with a staff of 6 full-time people who can't do this work alone. And so I first have to thank how much support the LA Stage Alliance has gotten from the community. And if you want to know how to engage with us further, just give us a call. We will answer your calls and your emails. It's a promise. Huge thank you to Michael Ritchie and to our host venue, Center Theater Group, and their staff. Thank you to all of our Ovation Awards sponsors. Put on your seatbelts. Here we go. Wells Fargo, Walt Disney Imagineering Creative Entertainment, UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television, F&D Scene Changes Limited, the USC School of Dramatic Arts, Theater Mania, Ovation Tix, Gold Star, Ken Werther Publicity, Baker's Man Productions, Time Out Los Angeles Performances Magazine, Variety, Peter Canerco Photography, and Rush Street and City Tavern. Thank you also to the funders for their support of LA Stage Alliance. We'll start with Bill Bordy. I don't know if you heard the news, but recently Bill Bordy has, in honor of his sister, Pearl Bordy Fraser, they used to both work out here on a paper called Dramalogue, he bestowed in her name $500,000 to the LA theater community. That's to be shared among LA Stage Alliance and 8 of its member theaters. Thank you to the Ahmanson Foundation, the City of Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs, Bloomberg Philanthropies, LA County Arts Commission, the Ralph M. Parsons Foundation, and the Schubert Foundation. We have a new partner this year that we're, first time ever for the Ovations. This show is being presented in partnership with the Drama Desk Awards in New York City. So thank you to Gretchen for making that happen. It proves that, yeah, there are some times when institutions in New York and institutions in Los Angeles can actually get along. Thank you to the 250 voters. I will now read out all of your names. Oh, can we have the lights up, please? Can we bring up the lights? I'm not going to read them out, but do we have a house light? There we go, thanks. Voters, if you're there, would you rise, please? Can we stand? Give you. Thank you. Thank you. Now the Ovation Rules Committee. If you're out there, can you rise, please? The Ovation Rules, members of the Ovation Rules Committee. Thank you. These guys, they hold monthly meetings at LA Stage Alliance, and I've never seen anything. I've only been on the job a year, but the tenacity and the diligence of these people is jaw-dropping, so thank you so much. Thank you to our Board of Governors. Can you please rise? Those of you who are here. There's probably nothing as thankless as being on the board of a nonprofit, and so the thanklessness ends here. Thank you so much for your guidance and for your generosity. Our amazing staff, Julie, Mark, Danny, Crystal, Monica, Lauren, if you're in the house, can you rise? Thank you for the producing team, particularly Crystal, Eric Sims, Lindsay Albaugh, and Doma Theater Company for presenting all the musical numbers tonight. Thank you to LA Stage Allies and the Leadership Circle for your ongoing support. There was so much great work done in 2016 on our stages, but it was also a year of profound losses. We lost the 99-seat theater plan. We lost the entire Obama administration, but there are people we lost too. Edward Albee, Brad Burlingame, longtime LA Stage Alliance board member, the voice of KPCC's Morning Edition, writer and longtime contributor to LA Stage Alliance's journalism, Steve Julian. We lost Ron House, Barry Jenner, Gary Marshall, Henry Holden, Rick Clucci, Tom Starczyk, Rob Murrier, Doris Roberts, Marvin Kaplan, Pearl Bordy Fraser, and Barbara Tarbuck. And I don't think anyone can stand on this stage and not be touched by the spirit of Gordon Davidson. the award-winning director, founding artistic director of Center Theatre Group. We wanted to share a few words about him from Luis Valdez, who delivered this speech at Gordon Davidson's memorial last week on this very stage. Thank you so much.
Hi. I'm Luis Valdez. As an American playwright for over the last 50 years, it has been my mission to sing the song of America. It is my privilege this evening to sing the song of Gordon Davidson, my friend, a mentor, a colleague, a collaborator, and certainly one of the great souls of the American theater. 40 years ago, almost exactly 40 years ago, he invited me into his office here at the Taper because he had a project that he wanted me to know about. He had a series called The New Theater for Now, and he was engaging local playwrights, California playwrights especially, to come and record the history of Los Angeles. And so we sat in his office and very quickly arrived at a common thought about the Pachucos, the Zoot Suiters, and the Zoot Suit riots. He felt the urgency of it. He felt its connection to the pulse, not just of Los Angeles, but of the nation. And so he commissioned me to write a play about these events, the Sleepy Lagoon murder case of 1942 and the Zoot Suit riots of 1943. Little did I know the extents to which this play would reach, not just as a work of theater, but as a work of public consciousness, as a work of the American narrative, which these days is severely threatened by forces of darkness and ignorance and racial discrimination. And so it is with deep, deep humility that I celebrate the spirit of Gordon Davidson, one of the great, great, greats of the American theater. I leave you with a little poem because it is painful that he is no longer on earth, but his spirit survives. And yet this feeling, the poignancy of loss, is preserved in the Aztec poetry, you know. Ano chipa tlalticpac sana chica, yetnican, I'll say it in Spanish. No para siempre en la tierra, solo un poco aquí. Aunque sea jade se quiebra, aunque sea oro se rompe, aunque sea plumaje de quetzal se desgarra. No para siempre en la tierra, solo un poco aquí. Not forever on this earth, just a brief moment here. Though it be jade, it is broken. Though it is gold, it will melt. Though it is a plumage of quetzal feathers, it will become ragged. Not forever on this earth. Yes, the flesh melts, the bones crumble, but the spirit lives forever. Gordon Davidson, the spirit of American theater. I salute you, my brother. Que viva Gordon Davidson!